So what's up? This is Brandon from Ground Dev. I'm taking a month off from my serious projects to work on a zombie shooter like Dead Rising for my wife and sons to play. While working on it, I've been building two different types of AI. One is a companion AI, the other is a zombie AI, and I figured I would do tutorials on how I set those up since they were pretty simple. I don't use any AI controllers or anything crazy like that. I just use the base blueprints on the blueprint characters. You can do the zombie tutorial or the companion tutorial first. It shouldn't matter. I'm not for sure which one is easier to do first because I had to do them both over a few times. So feel free to do one or the other first. Also, if you have problems with your material on import, that will be part 1. Starting out in the zombie AI tutorial, the only thing I forgot to mention at the beginning, you need a blueprint class and make it a character class so he can move and have pawn sensing automatically. So we're going to need a walk, an idle, a run, a hit, and an attack. So a been hit, so like you've been struck with an object, gun, etc. Starting out in the event graph, we're going to make some variables. First one's going to be health. It's going to be a float. We're going to compile, save. We're going to change that to 1. And that means it's going to work at a 1 to 100% instead of using just a regular number, a whole number. It will use percents instead. So our zombie now has 100% health bar. We are going to create a function. I'm going to call it death. So we now have our health bar. My bad. We're going to get health. We are going to say less than if our health is less than 0, or just to make it a little bit easier, 0.1, we're going to promote this to a variable. This new variable will be us dead. When our health is below 0.1, we will set ourselves to dead. Add a return node, and on the return node, drag this pin. Name it dead. Compile, save. Okay, so this now tells our character when he's dead. And that will play our death animation in our anim blueprint. So we got health, we got death. How are we going to trigger death? So let's take away damage. If you followed along in the part 2 of the tutorial, we have our character who's casting an attack with a sword. So yeah, they're casting with a sword. So on event overlap, we can just use the capsule component. On begin overlap, we're going to say cast to 1 BP. Yeah. Other actor, and technically we need our sword, which I don't know if I named. So now it's going to get this specifically. So when this overlaps our capsule component, here's where you would spawn emitter location if you had a blood sample or a fire hit, like hitting brick or a zombie or whatever. This is where you would have that spawn emitter. Let's go into health. So when we get hit from this sword, we're going to set our health .1 less. So we're going to set our health 0.1 less. Now, if you have a hit reaction, so been hit, this will be a boolean. This is where you'd put it. So when this is collided with your zombie, you will set been hit however long your animation is. So let's put a delay. And I'll do 1. We will then set been hit to here. I also like to put in stop movement of the character, of this character, because it looks a little bit more realistic. If you've been hit with an object, you stop. But for right now, that should work just for testing purposes. Save. Alright, so we got our guy, and we got our variables, but ultimately he can't do anything. Oh, before we start, might as well attack. So, for attack, he'll actually need a radius for that. He has to know when to start attacking. So for that, we add a sphere collision. Put it wherever you want. I generally like to put it like right in front of him, wherever he's going to be hitting. Kind of just makes sense. So on that sphere collision, on begin overlap, we set our attack to true. Whoops. Cast to, for right now we'll make it us. So third person character. Other actor. So right now it's going to attack only us. It won't attack the other player unless we add that. It's going to have a delay, and then it's going to set that to true, make our delay a little bit longer. Okay, so now he'll attack us once we're in our range. So now we have everything finished for our character. Let's get him moving. So first off, we need a blend space for him, so he knows how to run. We need a blend space 1D. And the reason for that is it'll make it a little bit easier on us. So, okay. So now we have a basic blend space, which is a blend space 1D. Now we have walking, we have idle, and we have running. So he starts, he's idle, he's walking around, roaming around the map. Once he sees the player, It takes off running. The regular blend space, you'd have to add turning and all that other whatnots, and you would have to also add direction to it. But right now, we're just gonna go with speed, and we don't have to name that yet. But for right now, this will work. So let's add an animation blueprint. Click your character. Okay, in our blueprint, we're gonna get a state machine. For our entry, idle slash walk slash run. Use our new one, and now we have one variable coming off of it. We're going to promote this variable to speed. We're going to go to our event graph, cast to our zombie, attach our try get pawn owner. Once we're here, we set our speed from our zombie. We need to get velocity. Off of get velocity, we go to vector link. And we plug that value into our speed. Our character can now move. He can also chase us when we add AI just from this alone. But we want him to do a little bit more. So let's go into our state machine. Off this, we're going to... Actually, before we do that, let's do it this way. We are going to pull off here. And we're going to make all our variables before we even start. Okay, so now our character's moving. We got him casted into the right blueprint. So what we're about to do is in our blueprint, we're going to call all of these variables and put them in our event graph so then we can use them when we set up our animations. So here, attack, we get attack, get been hit, and I'm actually not going to call death yet. I'm going to wait on that for a second. So attack and been hit. We need to promote that to a variable. Attack ABP. Link up our speed. Been hit. Promote to a variable. Hit ABP. Link this. Okay. So we have these. Now we go back into our state machine. We drag off, add a new state. Hit. Run pins to and from each. We go into our hit. Our zombie has been hit. He's going to get mad and do a scream. To go into hit, we take our hit ABP. We say it equal. We check it. And now it can be transferred into hit. We do the same over here. Oop. Okay, now our hit is functional. We do the same for our attack. We pull in our attack, we click get, equal, and check it, because if it's going into attack, it's true. It's also much easier to copy and paste these, but I have a bad habit of not doing it. It's unchecked, so it's untrue. And before, so when we attack, for right now we're just gonna do a zombie punch. So it's gonna swing at the character when it gets near it. So on our event graph, we are going to call our function to death, or dead, actually. Or death, yeah. We're gonna call our death function. We're gonna plug this into here. We're gonna bring this out, promote it to a variable. We're gonna call it death. So in our state machine, we actually don't want this to be able to go back to idle and run because the person's dead, unless you want that to spawn back later. So we bring our death animation in here, get, it's equal. By the way, you can drag some of these in and connect them like this, and then go not, and then do that for true and false, but it doesn't always work the best. Every time I've used equal, it works a little bit better. So that was not equal. Equal. Okay, so this is equal. So now when our player's health is below 0, it will play this animation off that function. Okay, let's go back to our zombie. And in the viewport, we click our zombie. Most of you won't have to rotate your character. My character was just weird and was made like that. So, but it still imported to Mixamo and did everything just fine. So let's compile, save. She hits him with the sword. It will take away his health, and it will play his been hit animation from our actor. So, on our AI character, currently she's only attacking the regular zombie I had in here. So I'm going to take that away and add in the new character. So this means when he gets in her attack radius, she will turn towards that actor and then set her attack. And because her attack is set, and this sword connects, it will take away our zombie's health, play been hit when his health gets below 0 or below 0.1, it'll play his dead animation. Which, actually, I think I forgot to set. So we go into random graph, we hit dead, oh, falling back dead. Oh, wrong ABP. Here we go, dead. So yeah, our zombie falling back dead. That should be it. So currently he's not moving, he's not doing anything. He will just be reacting to our player, and our player will be reacting to him. There they are. So he's been hit, but he's looping his animation. This animation is looping. We just come over here, unclick, compile, save. Play. Start playing. Our actor sees the zombie. She cuts him. He goes down. Now he's dead. Okay, that is the functionality of the zombie. Oh, wait a minute. She gets near him. She hits him. I get near him. He tries to hit me. She hits him. She hits him. There he goes. Our AI player can hit our zombie. Our zombie can swing at us. And our zombie takes damage with a health system. Now we just need the zombie to move and react like an AI. So, our zombie works, is functional, it dies, it can be hit, and it tries to attack us. Some things to add: if you have a gun that can shoot a bullet, if you did the same thing with the sword, or you can just call the bullet of your gun, and this will do the same thing. Also, if you wanted to do this in reverse, you would put the health system that we just built in your character, the third person character, on our zombie character. You would make a sphere collision, and with the sphere collision, you would put it on the mesh. You would come to right hand, pause this dude, put it on the right hand, and then he will use it just as his attack sphere would, or just as the sword or bullet would be. You would just call it the same exact way as we did. Here. So it'd be when you're on your third person character, you'd cast to that zombie, specifically his sphere. You could also set a branch and set it to is his attacking. But I'm not going to get into all that. So let's build functionality to our zombie. I showed in the last tutorial how you can do a basic AI to where they follow, etc. For this one, I'm going to do a little bit more complicated because we technically want our zombie to walk at different speeds when he's doing different things. So, your walk speed might be different than mine. My characters were big and small, so I'd use different walk speeds. So I'm going to be plugging in random numbers to this, and you might have to pick your own. Just notice the ones that are higher and lower, and I'll make note of them too. So, in our character, our blueprint character, okay, that's his attack sphere, so I kind of want that to be in front of him so he knows when to attack. On our blueprint, we need to add pawn sensing. So this pretty much just gives him sight, and you can control that here, how far you want it to be. For most of the zombies I have them pretty low, like 400, or even close to like 800. Also peripheral vision, that's his vision, left and right. I turn that down to like 40, 45. Alright, see there's his vision, it's good, not great. But if you're in this cone, it will sense you. So, off his pawn sensing, on see pawn. So when it sees the pawn we're about to cast to, we're actually going to get a new variable, can see. We're going to set it, and when you see the character, we're going to check it. So that means it can see the player. We set it to true. Off of us seeing the player, we want to set our max walk speed to generally however high we have it. Set. If you can't call it, just come up here to your character movement, because you're going to need character movement anyways. Set max walk speed. So yeah, set max walk speed. Currently, my max walk speed is 600. I think that's it as it's running, though. So can see the player, we want to set it to 600. So here, we're going to print a string. Can see player. So it can see the player, and it will let us know now. It's going to have a delay. Set it to 2. We're going to do AI move to, just like we did before, AI move to character player. Bring this out. Our pawn is self. Our target actor is get player. Character. Get the player character. So when this succeeds and finds the player, it's going to double back and do it again just like we showed in the first tutorial. That means it's going to continue doing it if it sees the player. On fail, it's going to check it can't see the player because it couldn't move to the player, so it probably can't see him anymore. And make sure to set that for untrue. Then we're going to set our walk speed again. Back to something a little bit lower, something more like a walking speed. So 200, and you might have to go lower. I had to go like 30. So if you have to go that low, then you might have to go that low. Which I might have to too, we'll see. Take character movement. Connect it to your target pin. sure we have everything correct. Okay, so right now, if the character sees you, and he can see you, he'll let us know, and he'll come running towards us. If it can't see you, then it can't see you, and it'll change his walk speed to something a little bit slower, which we won't be able to see yet. So, he can see the player, he can chase the player, and he can attack the player. Right now he's beating me up. Our AI companion can hit him. So, let's make it a little bit better. He is pretty cool. He can chase us, he can attack, and he's pretty good at it. He gets a little too close, like he runs into us. You can set that here, and that's also depending on the size of your character. It affects the radiuses. For most of my characters, it was 100 to 200 was normal radiuses for their attack ranges. For him, I'm going to set it to 100. And hope that's okay, but he was doing pretty well. So I don't want him to just come after me, although this is ideal. So we're going to set an event tick. Off this event tick, we're going to hit a delay. Also play around with these. I had my delay pretty high, but that's just to make sure they got to their random area first. And that's what we're doing. We're making it walk around to random areas at that low set walk speed. So, in all honesty, I'll give him 5 seconds to walk to wherever he wants. And then change his direction if he does not see us. So, delay. Set. Okay, so we can't get this. Our character movement that we have sitting up here, we can actually use for down here. Set max, because it's just a variable and we can use it to grab it. He was bolting, wasn't he? So we'll go with 20. No, we'll go with 50. So set max walk speed to 50. So we're gonna go AI move to again. Off our destination, we're gonna go random reachable point in the radius. And then we're gonna go off of its location. So the zombie's location itself, it's gonna get a random point near it. However far you want it to go, I can set it to 1,000. So 1,000, and it will move around in that area for 5 seconds. And it will get an acceptable radius to whatever that area it decides to pick. So messing with these, you can kind of get your characters to walk around in random areas. Also, it changes its walk speed to its walk speed, and then when it sees you, it chases you instead. So, let's see if this works. Give me a moment while I clean up my play area. So, this is our new zombie AI. I'm going to face him away from our character, so he doesn't just see us automatically and start chasing us. If you can't see this green right here when you hit P, the P on the keypad, it means you have no nav mesh. Just come up here and type in nav, N-A-V, and you'll have your nav mesh bound volume. Drag that in until you can scale it up to where it's covering this, so that way your AI can move around. Okay. We start. And our AI is not moving. Okay, see, he started to. So let's see. What was wrong? So, what I think happened is he didn't have enough radius to walk around in. So I'm going to set this to something like really high. Set the acceptance radius up to like 10. His delay's 5. So he should just run this. Can see. He did have no issue coming after us though when he could see us. And he did set his walk speed back to something low. But let's change this something 150. I'm going to change his regular run speed to something like 400. Because that's generally what he runs at anyways. Oh, that's why. Our AI moved to, our pawn needs to be set to sell. Of course, I forgot that. Duh. So now he should work. I was wondering, like, we had everything fixed. I was just really confused. So he started to go into his random location, but he started to do it at like a sprint. So obviously his max walk speed's too high. Let's set it to like 30. Whoa. File, save. Alright, let's try this again. And let's get away from him. Or actually, I can come up here and we'll just hit simulate. Because we know he chases after us, we know he attacks us. So let's just see if he walks. So there he goes. Now he's walking around. Waiting for us. He's looking for us to attack us. So let's drop in there and see what happens. So as we drop in, he's going to walk around. Our other character sees us, comes to help, even though we don't need the help. There's one zombie. The zombie sees us, and he starts taking off, and now he's coming after us. He's mad, she's mad, and it's working. So, obviously, we would add stop movement to his death, and we'd add stop movement to his attack to make it look a little bit more realistic, because that's him following you as a dead body is not realistic. And also, we could do destroy actor with his death function, and that would get rid of the body. That's what I did on my other actors, and you can do that too. Super easy. But for right now, that's it. That's a basic zombie AI.